Hello guys and welcome back to DarkHorse FM, and in this video we're also going to be talking about another player instruction that is somewhat confusing in Football Manager for some people, and that player instruction is the move into channels player instruction. This is based on a request from one of my subscribers, so I'm going to actually get through this really quickly. Now the first thing you need to note is that the move into channel instruction is very different from the get further forward instruction. Now if you look at this player here, there's a central midfielder here on attack duty. We can just read through what the move into channel means and how it is separate from the get further forward. But first of all, let's get through the get further forward instruction. What the get further forward instruction says is that it encourages the players to look to move into the attacking third to seek to impact the game in the advanced areas by increasing the rate of forward runs that they go on to make, or while maintaining their normal place in the overall structure of the team. Now, how is this different from move into channels? From my understanding, the get further forward instruction means that the player is going to look to get into the attacking positions more often, but the move into channel instruction is slightly different. What it says here, move into channel asks players, particularly attack-minded players, to find vertical spaces between the central defenders and the fullbacks in such a manner that a teammate can actually fire them with a through ball or a pass that can actually help them unlock the defense. That is very different from get further forward. Now there are some players that have these instructions set to them, and there's some other players that are not capable. They are not capable of moving into channel. Now we're going to start from the defense and go all the way to the attack to see the player roles that do have them. Now one thing you need to find out in Football Manager is that players that are playing in the fullbacks and centre backs, everybody in the back four, to be honest, cannot move into channels. This is the first thing you need to actually pay attention to. If you try all the other roles, I think I went through all of them, none of them have the ability to move into channels. Even when you look at the complete wing back, which to me is the most adventurous fullback role, he cannot move into channels. If I get into the central defenders, you can look at the central defender here, and I can also switch to the libero. I think the libero is the only one that should, because he's the more adventurous central defender. Even on support duty, the libero does not have the ability to move into channels. So nobody in the back four can do that. But then once you start moving into the midfield, defensive midfield, and central midfield and attack, you start seeing certain players that have the ability to actually do this. In defensive midfield, the defensive midfielder does not have the ability to move into channels. If you look at the roles like the regista, because of the sort of how the regista and I think the deep line playmaker as well, because of the way they're built and the way the role is designed in defensive midfield, they don't have the ability to move into channels. But watch what happens when I switch to a roaming playmaker on support. The roaming playmaker on support, even though he's in the defensive midfield position, has the ability to move into channels. There are other roles that don't also have the ability. I think the ball winning midfielder cannot move into channels. Roles like a segundo volante, I would actually need to move my player to the right hand side for you to actually see the segundo volante. He's the only other defensive midfielder I think that has the move into channels instruction. So you can go ahead and check your players one by one to see who and who has them. I know in central midfield, the advanced playmaker on support duty doesn't have the move into channel instructions, but I'm going to tell you what happens when you actually get high up the field. So currently right now you can see the advanced playmaker on support duty, no move into channels. But then if you look at players like the Mezzala, players like the box-to-box midfielder, these players have to move into channel instruction because they are, based on how they're designed to eat into space and run and get forward, so they will have the ability to actually get into space. Looking at the central midfielder being the versatile role in central midfield, he has the ability to also move into channels. As I mentioned about the advanced playmaker, you can see him here in the number 10 role. If you look at the advanced playmaker in the number 10 role, he has the ability to now move into channels. So when he's deeper, he can't really get into the half spaces. But once he get into the number 10 role, he can actually then move into vertical space or get into that space between the fullback and the centre back. Now, if I switch the advanced playmaker to the trequartista also has the ability to move into channels. If you look at the shadow striker, he also has the ability to do that. But look at what happens when I move the trequartista from the central number 10 position and move him all the way to the right. If you check the trequartista now, when he's playing on the flanks, he no longer has the ability to move into channels. For some reason, I don't know why Football Manager designed it like that, but that's just the way it is. I think the only other players on the flanks that do have the ability to move into channels is the wide target forward on support duty. I think that is the only role that has the ability, and then every other role like the wingers, the inside forwards, they do not have the ability to move into the channels. That's in between the space that is between the central defender and the, what's the other guy's name, the fullback. So if you look at the inside forward now, looking at his player description, there's no instruction that says move into channels. So without wasting any more time, we're going to get into the attack now. I'm going to just have to put one other striker here just in case I don't know why I'm doing that. But if you look at the deep line forward on attack duty or support duty, by default this player can actually move into channels. Every single attacking role, every single striker from deep lying forward to advance forward to pressing forward. I think pressing forward even on support duty or defend duty. Okay, except the pressing forward on defend. Thank you for showing me that. But pressing forward on support duty and above, they have the ability to actually move into channels. If you look at the complete forward, I think bar pressing forward on defend, every single striker has the ability to move into channels. So this instruction, let's just have a quick recap, is the ability for your player to move into the half spaces. By half spaces, I mean the ability for your central midfielder, or for some extent a defensive midfielder that has a very dynamic role, or your strikers, the ability for your player to move into the space and take advantage of the space between the central defender and the fullback. That is move into channels. It is very different from the get further forward instruction. The get further forward instruction is going to instruct your players to get into more attacking positions, either out wide or centrally, or I'm not sure if it's really down to the half spaces. Probably, I think down to the half spaces as well, but specifically telling your players to get in between the space that is between the central defender and the fullback. That is what move into channel means. If you look at the wing back here, I think the wing back, the inverted wing back on support DT, a very interesting role by the way. He doesn't also have the instruction that says move into channel, but based on how we know how Football Manager works, the inverted wing back, I think even in real life I've seen Josko Vardiel get into those sort of positions for Manchester City, but in the game it's not something an inverted wing back is asked to do. Maybe the role can actually do it by itself, but as an instruction it's not possible. So that's the summary of the video. Get further forward means get into attacking positions. Move into channel means get into the space between the central defender and the fullback. That's it for today's video. Remember to leave a like on it if you found this useful, and also to subscribe to the channel for more Football Manager videos like this. And if you have more questions about Football Manager rules or instructions or anything like that, do let me know in the comment section. I will get back to you and try to make a video like this. I ended up changing my system from what I was using to a 4-3-3, so let me just push it all the way back. I'm going to just fix everything. See you later.